Welcome to The Cleaning,
Cleaning,
a podcast about Apple TV Plus's show Silo, Season 2. My name is Catfish, and with me, as always, is someone who also loves taking quick jogs with heavy decorative jewelry. It's Bubba.
Catfish, I am so pleased to be joined with someone like showrunner Graham Yost doesn't remember the book too well, because this episode 2 of the Silo didn't remember the book pretty much like you don't remember the book. So it's pretty good. Guys,
Bubba, I think it's very telling that you use the word roast to describe Graham Yost, because it sounds like you are ready to do nothing but roast his buttocks.
I might be. Guys, we're talking about Silo Season 2, Episode 2, entitled Order, in Silo 18. And I guess they're making it official that our original Silo is Silo 18. Shock and unrest take hold in wake of Juliette doing what no one's done before. Whew. On this podcast, we've got our ranking of the episode, a new segment called Silo Speculation. We ask, is it better in the silo or in our real world? Our episode breakdown, judicial debate, catfish questions, and we've got enough feedback to fill 2 silos. We're also going to end the podcast with our classic book talk, which is 3 sections: how the episode and book differ, minor spoilers with Catfish, then deep down spoilers without Catfish. We had this feedback from Owen O'Connor, who said, "Where's the book talk part?" Well, if you listen to audio podcast, it's all one file. On YouTube, because of comments, we break them up, and our spoiler book talk comes out on Tuesdays. That way, in the comments, you can leave all the book spoilers you want. This is a double P-packed podcast. Catfish, are you ready to give your rating?
Oh, I am ready to give my rating, Bubba. I am going to give this what I like to call 8.5 quadruple T's.
Quadruple T's.
Yes, that is interminable tape TED Talks. Now, Bubba, sometimes it's good to watch the previously on, not because you may have forgotten stuff the way I do, but also, it's been a year since we've been in this silo. By the way, Silo 18, less preferable silo for Matt Gaetz than Silo 17, but
topical.
Now,
yes.
So sometimes on the previously on, and it happened too with Game of Thrones. It happens with any show where they're doing a long storyline. In the previously on, you'll get an idea of perhaps what, a reminder of things that are going to come up tonight. For example, this week's previously on consisted of blah, 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 tape, blah, blah, tape, blah, tape, 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 tape.
Well, it is sponsored by 3M.
The better tape.
Right. So 8, did you say 8.4, 8.5? This is a high rating.
I gave it a high rating. I thought there were a lot of good shenanigans going on. Again, I love to see Bernard running around with his heavy necklace on. Clang, 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 clang. They really kind of set the terms, really, I thought, in a good job for all the different groups and what they want and what they're going to do to get it. So I thought, even though it was table setting, it was a good job of table setting and also table setting.
I should love this episode because, if you look at my family history, we're Scotch.
No.
Here we go. Yes. Now, Catfish, before I give you my rating, I do want to go to our feedback we got from wonderful Double L loyal listener, Gen X Cat Mom, who's at All Mod Cons with a Z on Blue Sky. They wrote, "I'm so glad Silo and your podcast are back. I give the second episode of season 2 8.5 double B's.
Double B's?
Babbling Bernards." She says Bernard's attempt at a rousing speech was only slightly better than his eulogy at the mayor's funeral last year. Man, it was a long time ago, but I still remember how bad that funeral eulogy was. Very good, Gen X Cat Mom. They conclude, very unexpected dynamic between Bernard and the judge. Entire episode never had a dull moment. Ooh, we love feedback. If you are watching this on YouTube, go down in the comments, give us your feedback on social media.
Love it.
At Double PHQ. We want to hear it. So you were 8.5. Gen X Cat Mom was 8.5.
Yeah.
This is what I like to call a double R.
Double R.
role reversal, because last week for episode 1, I was a bit higher, you were a bit lower.
Yeah.
This week, I'm going to be the bit lower one, because I'm only going to give this 7 quadruple S's out of 10.
What quadruple? Oh, yeah, quadruple. Wait, no, what? Quadruple S?
Slow stuck silo show.
Oh, no, no.
Now, the positives are this episode proved that, hey, we can do an episode without Juliette. We can have non-Juliette characters. They can carry an episode. Decisions made by characters in season 1, specifically something like Knox turning in Juliette to Judicial. It has consequences this season. I love that. Bernard being smart. We want our antagonist to be smart. He hires hecklers so he knows what the heckles will be and can respond to them. So good, so positive. Lots of positives. Here comes my mini little rant.
Oh, boy.
And it may not be so many. I'm the book reader. Both of us have read the book, but Catfish so long ago, he really doesn't remember it. So I'm the book reader, and it's my job to lead us through the book reader portion of the podcast. So I just completed this week my 3rd reread of this novel. And I was
Congratulations.
I was ready to come in here and say, oh man, this novel is so great. It is so great. And Juliette, we talk about Juliette goes out for her cleaning, not even at the halfway point of the book. And how is that? So when she goes out to clean, you're like, wow, that's a big thing. It only happens halfway through. Yes. And then the rest of the novel is all gas. It is all gas. And then I get to this episode and it's table setting. And I'm like, ugh. And so I'm going to give you one minor example. This is the type of the thing we do at the beginning of the book talk. And it's a minor example from the book. Listeners, we'd normally never do it. The first part of this podcast is TV only. But I want to do it to explain where my kind of frustration comes from. In the book, Walker, she has agoraphobia. She doesn't leave her workshop. She doesn't leave her workshop in the book when Juliette goes out for her cleaning. The character is still in this, a fearful and in this workshop. Walker doesn't leave the workshop until a kid comes in and says, hey, Juliette walked over the hill. That's what inspires Walker to leave her workshop. She goes out to the cafeteria. Everybody's speculating what happened. Walker just comes out and says, listen, everybody here in this cafeteria, which is pretty much everybody in the Down Deep, I did it. I worked with supply to get Juliette's suit quality heat tape. She says it. Then the whole Down Deep knows the truth, and it allows them to tackle what I would consider the big drama about, wait a minute, that means everybody sent out for a cleaning before was given tape they knew would fail and would die. And it raises the tension in the room. It raises the temperature of the silo, all this stuff. And this episode is like a microcosm of how the show doesn't ever want to raise the stakes or raise the temperature too much. It's got to be slow and build for multiple episodes. So in this episode, once again, in the book, it's just one scene. Walker comes in and says, hey, guess what, guys? I did it. I did the heat tape. In this episode, Walker comes out and doesn't say anything. This is the character last week who was like, you know what, Juliette, you're 12 years old, but you've got to say out loud, my mom committed suicide, right? Walker's like, in the Down Deep, you got to talk tough. This episode, she comes out and instead of talking tough, she's like, see you guys. So there are multiple scenes. Shirley goes into Walker's office and she's like, you left that note. Did you do something with the heat tape? Nothing. Later, there's a scene of Shirley with somebody else. She's like, maybe, I think maybe Walker did the heat tape. Then at the end of the episode, she's got a small group, not the whole Down Deep, but she's got a small group. And Shirley's like, listen, guys, I'm pretty sure Walker did the heat tape. And I'm like, the book took care of this in one little scene so that we could get to the heightened tension, the silo really, in a heightened state. The show is delaying it in, kind of going real slow. And so I shouldn't let my book reader frustration come out, but this is just a microcosm of how the whole episode, I was like, we're really taking this long to get the machine up and going, to, get some steam in this generator that's going to go. Now that's just me. We had feedback.
Yes, we are, Bubba. Yes, we are.
Had feedback from on YouTube from the Spanko Mat, and they wrote, I read the book after season 1 and the book felt rushed to me. And then Fun gave us this feedback that says, I respect the show for going slow. It makes everything feel real. This is just a personal preference. I loved the book because at a certain point, it is all systems go. It is blast off time. And I think Juliette going over the hill, the silo naturally would be blast off time. But the show, it's like, we got to enter in a slow walk to blast off time. And I'm ready for blast off time. Take me to the fireworks factory.
No, there's plenty more episodes to go, Bubba. What the heck?
Well, once again, if we'll talk about it in the book talk section. Yeah, there are plenty more episodes to go. It's not one firework going off in the second half of this book. It is an entire fireworks factory for hundreds of pages. So anyway,
Bubba, a quick question. We've talked about, and some people are upset, that some characters from the book have either been changed or deleted, and we've had new characters. Just a quick question. In the book, is Tape as big a character as it is in this episode? Because I feel like Tape should have gotten, it should have said guest starring
billing.
Tape. Special guest star Tape.
I want to joke that it's like, how Moby Dick has a chapter that's all not really narrative. It's all about this is how you hunt for whales at this time. I want to joke that, yes, these 50 pages right here are all about the incredible resistance of heat tape. No, of course, the tape serves its point, but then it's not, it is not a fourth build character in the novel. Hey, we love to say, who cares what we think? I've had this stupid mini rant. Who cares what I think? I still think about the positives I said. I'm still really happy. Listeners, on all your social medias, if your social medias include Blue Sky, Threads, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, join us and please leave a comment. And once again, we read comments by people who disagree. This is a free-flowing discussion. We want you to stay in the silo. We don't want you to listen to the podcast and then after listening to us say, I want to go outside. So, Catfish, are you ready? I mean, it's a new section we're going to have here on the podcast, and that is
called the Double S.
Double S.
Yeah, silo speculation. I just
How about that? Now, because you read the book so long ago and you don't remember things, and because, let's be honest, as I've kind of pointed out, the show is happy to change things. I thought we'd have some speculation that we'll ask now and then answer in the book section. And if you guys don't want to know these book spoilers, you don't have to listen to them. So let's get to it real first, Catfish. If you remember season 1, we had a lot of deaths really quick at the beginning. We had Allison, then her husband, Sheriff Holston, then Mayor Johns, then Deputy Marnes. It was a funeral procession in those early episodes. In the book, many characters still do die, and so I would wonder if you could speculate which character from the books, who is a character on the show, would be next to die.
It definitely, I'm going to pull from the pool, the larger pool that we have, the Down Deep.
Okay.
And I can't decide whether it's going to be Walker or our young spy, but I'm going to say...
Ooh.
I think we need no, I'm going to say Walker. Let's do it. Let's get rid of her. Everyone's tired of her yap. She comes down there and she's like, shut up about the damn tape.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to turn the riot hose on you.
She's like, there's cameras and recorders everywhere. So clearly it would be stupid for you to sit somewhere that you knew was being monitored and talk about the tape.
Oops.
Oh.
Hey, listeners, we want you to play along as well. If you haven't read the books, or if you're like Catfish and don't remember in the books, who do you speculate which character on this show is next to die according to the book next? And there's some interviews that imply that the show's not going to kill this character. So speculate his way. Here's speculation number 2, Catfish.
Oof.
We know many characters get sentenced to clean in the books. In fact, in this episode of the show, we had a no-named character said, I want to go outside. And then Deputy Hank was like, la, 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 I hear nothing, I see nothing. So which character...
there was also a named character that said, I want to go outside.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. No comment. So which character is next to be sentenced to a cleaning via the book? Would you imagine?
Man, that is a good... question. I know that we had a lot to go over in this episode, but a lot of it seems that our boy who took over being the sheriff was real diminished in this episode.
Oh yes.
And
yes.
if he'd been more active in questioning, like when he questioned Common, is like, tell me what happened, and Common says it, and he says, and I wish he'd have just said, so that's what you're going to go with? Then he would have been the next one to clean for sure. But I think it's going to be, Juliette's fellow rabble-rousing friend,
Shirley.
The woman with the short haircut.
Shirley. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And listeners, once again, if we want you to speculate, you can listen to the beginning part of the book section where we'll say this, because in the end, I don't think it's that big a spoiler because I think the show's going to change a lot. The final question for Silo speculation question, Catfish, is which character doesn't exist in the books? Which character or characters from this episode of the show don't exist in the Silo books?
Well, I'm going to assume it is the horrible villain from Sex Education who we see. I mean, they spent an entire season in Sex Education making him the bad guy. And the next season, they're like, no, we were just joking. He's not really the bad guy. Yeah. The guy who's in the wheelchair who is now has a very straight American accent. Yeah, I had to look him up, Bubba. I'm like, God, he looks like him. But it doesn't sound like him, but it is him.
That is him. And Catfish, you are correct. That is one of the characters in this episode who doesn't appear in the book. So good. Listeners, I hope you like Silo's speculation. If you like it, let us know in the comments. If you don't like it, let us know in the comments and we won't do it going further. One thing we always do, though, Catfish, is wonder, is it better here in modern day world, or is it better to be somewhere in a silo? What do you got this week based on this episode?
Let's see, better in the silo or better here? Now, look, Bubba, I paused.
Yes.
The page, the screen when the Bernard opened the Bernard's Bible for dealing with insurrection, where that starts off in the event of a failed cleaning, prepare for war. I wanted to see what else was written there. In the smaller print, Bubba, it says it turns out that the silo has an OSHA. That is right, an Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Now, in the U.S., we are about to get rid of all those useless government overwatch groups that only stifle corporate profits in the name of nebulous things like safety and health. Therefore, since we're about to not have an OSHA, better here.
Right. I mean, they probably don't get the thrill of polio in the silo. So
No. Because they have to protect their populace, they're babying them more in the silo than we are in the U.S. You know, they have a social support structure.
Hey, which do you want to do first as we dive into the episode recap? Do you want to talk about the up top crew or go down to our people down in the down deep?
You know, Bubba, I actually enjoyed the up top crew more this episode, maybe just because it was a lot of table setting with people we didn't know and what's going to happen. So take that as you will. You know, I like to end with the dessert. Right. So why don't we do down below first?
Let's go down into the down deep. Juliette has just crossed the hill on her cleaning, and it has become pretty much Woodstock 99. It is out of control craziness. Deputy Hank's trying to maintain order. There's the alarm, which Sims is going off blaring. I mean, this is insane.
I mean, Sims had said, as a beautiful segue, I bet they're loving this down there. And I'm not sure in which way he was using the word loving, but they are certainly enthusiastic. Let's say that.
They are. So, okay, hey, next, you're head of mechanical. Knox, you're going to get up there and you're going to give the take charge speech. And he's trying to get everybody to calm down. We love Juliette. Juliette's the best. And then, oh, snap, short-haired Shirley turns on him and she says, oh, yeah? Then why'd you turn her in, Knox? And Knox, of course, is like, he answers the way you're supposed to answer. I didn't know there'd be fact-checking. So
I thought we agreed.
Right, yeah. So anyway, Knox is once again, he's trying to maintain order in his own way. He's being a bit like up top Bernard about my people. He thinks the down deep are his people. They're out of control. They're going to possibly get into trouble and say things like they want to go outside. And so, he's on their side. He's trying to tell them, listen, we got to be orderly. We got to do this smart. The up top people, they think we're dumb animals. Shirley is scorched earth policy. Shirley's like, shut down the power. What do you think, Catfish? Who is right in this battle between Knox, the head of mechanical, who's frustrated, but, is like, hey, let's not do anything, radical, and Shirley, who is scorched earth, shut down the power, we deserve the truth. Who you got in this debate of philosophies and tactics?
Well, I'm just going to say that I think because she doesn't have the full knowledge, Shirley is right. I think if if Shirley knew that pretty much up top was like, this is what we've been waiting for, we're ready, then that's not the right thing to do. But I think if you're the one who's got the reins of power, Bubba, it's just been shown. If you're the one who has the reins of power, you have to use it until it gets taken away from you, because then God knows what's going to happen.
Walker comes in and turns on the faucet, turns on the riot hose on everybody, and is like, yeah, you're arguing, but don't we have jobs we need to get back to? I guess that generally works for most people, but Knox and Shirley are still button heads. You've got to stop being so crazy, Shirley. This place is a tinderbox, and Shirley doesn't want to hear it. She says, is that an order? And Knox, who I guess is her boss in the workplace, says, yeah.
Ooh. Ooh.
If your boss told you something that didn't relate to your work, would you agree with them? I guess that's Shirley saying, hey, I'm not on the clock now. What do you think?
I mean, it's not like she could drive home or complain to HR. I mean, it's an unhealthy work environment, Bubba. Work so enmeshed with home.
Catfish, we go to that scene I kind of teased earlier. Shirley's like, hey, is there a chance Juliette's alive? Did you do something with the tape? And Walker is saying nothing. And Walker's pretty much like, Juliette is dead. She thinks like you do, Catfish. Juliette went out there with not enough air. I got her tape to give her a little bit more life, but there's only so much oxygen in that suit.
Yeah, it makes you wonder why she decided to do it.
Right, waste good tape. No, I'm kidding. And then
what is the point of it, Bubba? If she didn't think she could survive, what is the point of it? She wanted her to go over the hill. She wanted her to cause trouble. Like if Walker was like, let's keep the status quo, that was not the right choice to make.
Would you say you loved somebody, imaginary world, obviously, but let's say you had feelings and emotion for somebody. They're going to their death, but by giving them this special heat tape that'll actually keep them sealed in, they'll live possibly, in your own mind, maybe they'll give them 10 more minutes of life. Do you do it? I mean, that is, probably the calculus Walker did.
I mean, if they're going to die horrifically, better to get it over soon.
Oh, my Lord, you are not going to manage my estate.
Also,
I'm not giving you the do not resuscitate command.
I mean, it is clear, Bubba, that this tape is 10 times better than any of the other tape. You really just going to throw that? You're going to waste that?
Deputy Hank, talk about somebody with the most thankless job. You're trying to corral all your buddies, and they don't listen to you when they want to scream and riot. And then it's like, hey, Deputy Judicial is now your boss, and they want you to arrest Grandma Walker. He even had to cuff her. Oh, geez, dang.
At least he knows what side his bread is buttered on.
He's like, listen, he seems like the nicest cop, right? If you got
he's got it pretty good, right? Because he's still doing his job, but he can still come off as the nice guy. He's pretty much the linchpin right here. Deputy Hank, He'll end up with the winners no matter who wins. Deputy Hank is the smartest guy on this show.
So the new character, the one you mentioned, this actor who is in a wheelchair and was on Sex Education, I guess he's working in the shop, and mechanic leader Knox, who just told Shirley, hey, nothing crazy, he goes to this guy and he says, listen, whatever you do, you're not allowed to build weapons, and there's also a second thing you got to do. But the show cuts before we hear what the second thing is. Any ideas? What do you think the second ask Knox said to this guy about? So, number one, don't make weapons. Number two is?
Number two, make me one of those fancy necklaces that Bernard has so I can run around.
Oh, that would be awesome. Who's mayor now?
Clang, 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 clang.
Walker's in jail, and they put her into jail with her cohort, her collaborator from Supply, her ex, Carla. They get some time alone to be eavesdropped on. Talk about things as Deputy Hank forces everybody out to listen to Mayor Bernard's speech.
Now, Bubba, just a quick question here, and I know we haven't covered the up top yet, but do you think that, because things are set in motion before this, do you think Bernard has looked at this, or if he hasn't, when he looks at it, he's going to gain any information, any helpful information that he didn't have already.
The thing I think, if you're Bernard, if you really hear all this conversation, is that Walker's idea is just stay quiet, stay quiet. As long as we don't say anything, we'll be able to find out what they know. And I think if you're Bernard and you hear somebody who did this saying, look, let's just stay quiet. Let's stay quiet. Let's stay quiet. I think number one, you're like, oh, good. Yeah, stay quiet. Number two, though, Bernard and Judicial killed Mayor Johns because she was going to pick the sheriff they didn't like. Bernard and Judicial killed Deputy Marnes because he was kind of nosing around a bit, right? To be consistent, that means Bernard and Judicial, they're going to let these two walk. But at a certain point, you've got to take them out. I mean, they're doing worse than Mayor Johns did by picking a different sheriff. They're doing they're letting people survive cleanings possibly. And so,
right.
That's
I mean,
my
the
idea
real
if you're
trouble
Bernard.
is going to be all the people who know that tape did not come from IT. That's going to be your real problem moving forward.
When did the people in IT, when did the people in IT say, what new tape? We haven't been working on new tape, have we? What did he just say? Is anybody here been working on new tape? Is the boss crazy?
That's me. I would be the guy who's like, yeah, I've been working on the new tape.
Right. That'd be great. How about this? Do you like that Carla and Walker have split up, but Carla's still like, I'll take the rap. I don't want to get you in trouble, even though this was your idea. You're a king of ratting people out, Catfish. What did you think of Carla?
Makes no sense. Carla has got to be like, clearly one of us has a lot more life and quality of life than the other. So it's time for you to hit the road, Walker.
Well, talk about the punishment. There are kind of two options. Both sound horrific. The cleaning, we know how those go. And then the second one is the mines. People are very afraid of the going down to the mines. Ooh.
Bubba, I had to stop here for a second because again, you know what? This is the joy that you have working on the podcast with me.
Right.
Is you never know, and people should know this is true. You never know whether I'm going to say something that is interesting or something that is so absolutely dumb that your jaw hits the ground. Bubba, I put in the notes here. Wait, there are mines? Were the mines? How many times were the mines mentioned last year?
The mines were mentioned a good number of times, but they were never shown.
Okay.
It was always a threat. It's always like Mom's threat of, I'm going to turn this car around right now. Okay. She never turns the car around, but it's always a threat. So there were a good number of, in fact, a character who didn't appear in these first two episodes called Lucas from season 1, who got sent to the mines. But again, we never saw him. So if you don't remember him, I think a lot of people may not remember there are mines.
All right.
And a good question might be, where in the world are there mines? If you go sideways out the silo, you could possibly run into another silo. So you don't want to mine there. At the very bottom of the silo, there's the digger and the water, so you're not going to mine there. Theoretically, we're going to see these mines, but there's a chance the mine is like a closet. You got put in the mine closet.
That's your punishment. However many people are down there are stuck in a 6x6 closet with a bucket and a mop. Oh, and a tiny little pickaxe.
Now, Shirley, yes, her boss at work, Knox, is telling her, keep it down, but she is not. She's yelling during the mayor's speech, hey, this isn't the new tape. It isn't new tape. It's the good tape that we use. The mayor's lying. And a judicial raider comes up to her and is like, what's your name? And what does she say, Catfish?
I am Spartacus.
What?
Oh, no. Wait, hold on. Yeah. She says her name is Juliette Nichols.
Heck yeah. Here we go. Now, Knox is frustrated that she's this rabble-rousing, but he's still going to protect her. And guess what? Deputy Hank protects her, too. And is like, listen, she's drunk. She's, frustrated. Let her mouth off. The judicial raider. That mouth of hers is going to get her sent to the mines.
Bubba, I'm just going to say it again,
Yeah.
and only because I only just now realized it while we're doing the podcast.
What?
We see all the machinations. There's Bernard, there's Com, and there's the judge. The person who's doing the most scheming on this show to come out on top is Deputy Hank.
I'd vote for him, wouldn't you? He's a man of the people.
He's going to survive no matter who's left. Deputy Hank's going to be, I was with you the whole time.
Now, again, Walker and Carla get let go. But again, I think if the show is consistent, Bernard's got to consider, mining them, for lack of a better word. The episode ends for the Down Deep crew in the tunnel, kind of the secret tunnel that goes down to the digger at the very bottom of the silo, where Cooper, who's supposed to be working for Knox, comes up to Shirley, and Shirley's like, screw Knox. He can't stop us. We've got to get the truth. And Cooper's like, hey, I'm a double agent. Yeah, Knox sent me here, but I don't work for here. I'm not here for Knox. I'm here for Juliette. Woo-hoo-hoo. And then Walker shows up. Boy, somebody who had agoraphobia. She gets around a lot. She's like, listen, you aren't going to get answers, but just so you know, across the silo, they're getting tagged JL, Justice League. They love
Juliette lives.
Oh, Juliette lives. Okay.
Juliette lives. That's what she's saying. But once again, for her to come down here and all you rabble kids causing all this trouble, you
Get off
shut
my
your
lawn.
yap. Everything that she says is like, do as I say, not as I have done repeatedly.
Yep.
That's why Walker, she got to go. I'd say this, Bubba.
Yeah.
Walker is the anti-Deputy Hank. No matter who
She
wins,
is.
she is going to get ixnayed.
Oh my goodness. Okay, hey, once again, it's developing these characters, their conflicts, and I guess there's four sides to the conflicts. There's Shirley, we've been lied to. Once again, burn it down. There's Knox. Okay, yes, we've been lied to, but we got to keep, we got to get our head straight and not, blow the place up. There's Walker. I'm going to try to blow the place up, but not tell anybody. And then there's Deputy Hank. Where are my hush puppies?
Deputy Hank, he's passing out stickers he had made that say, Deputy Hank is your friend.
Hey, okay, let's go up top. Let's walk all those stairwells. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my goodness gracious. I mean, we're talking hundreds of flights of stairs up to the up top. And it begins with Bernard. He's got connectivity to Juliette's suit, to her helmet. He goes into his secret area, and it's obviously the same room that we saw the madman in the abandoned silo last week. And he goes in there and he sees Juliette walking towards the other silo and all the other bodies, the dead bodies outside the silo. Whoa.
Bubba, I already kvetched last week about them wasting resources on these damn suits.
Yep.
And now you're telling me they're putting cameras in the suits? What the hell is going on here?
How about this? Think of the hundreds and dozens of other cleanings. The camera's pretty much just flop.
Yeah, that's
10
what I'm
feet
saying.
flop. You're dead.
I mean, I guess you could sell me that. Well, I don't know. I don't know how you could try to convince yourself. No, this time he wanted to make sure, when it doesn't make any sense, this cleaning was not going to be different than any other cleaning. So
Yep.
yes. Yeah.
He goes into his secret room. Like I said, it's the same door as the crazy man is in the abandoned silo we saw last week. And he goes up and he sees this, and then he pulls out his Bible, aka a book called The Order, which has that line we've talked about: in the event of a failed cleaning, prepared for war. While he's doing this insane alarm goes off.
Hold on, before
hell?
you say that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I was very distracted by the formatting of the book. Okay.
What, Times New Roman? What?
It feels like this should have been not just a new line, but maybe a new chapter. You can't just, if you've got a line that says prepare for war, you can't just say, you know what, let's bold that line. Do we want to make the font bigger? No. No. Do we want to make it the beginning of it? No. Just bold it. That'll be. So I just thought, wow, okay, this book's got to cover a lot. If that's not even a major chapter.
Again. Oh my God, it's somewhere in the middle of the book. Yeah, it doesn't even get a chapter heading. It's like, yeah, it's It's not much. What did you think of this alarm going off? Boy, if you didn't want people who to go crazy because of the cleaning they just saw, how about blast them with a freaking terrible sounding alarm?
That is another thing, Bubba. I don't know, like maybe they haven't learned the lesson. I think a lot of police have changed the color of their lights
Yep.
from red to like blue and white flashing, so that's like so that you sort of try to increase the peace, or at least not increase the sense of danger and alertness. So this seems like a little bit of a mistake to do this. I mean, maybe is there no other way they could communicate to all the judicial guys, like, okay, be on alert, other than blast this thing through the silo?
No, and it's especially not if you want to wake up the hungover judge from her sleep.
Oh man.
I mean, Juliette's cleaning happened at what, the equivalent of 10 in the morning? I mean, it's sunlight outside, but Judge Meadows, man, it's not until the alarm goes off that she's going to get out of bed.
Hey, Bubba, she's going to get a chip today.
No. Snap, snap.
She is going to get a chip. She's going to get a 10-minute chip about 10 minutes after she wakes up.
Now, Sims, he's the one, he comes up to Bernard. He's like, hey, good news, boss. I set off the alarm.
And then they put the curfew in, and that's when he says that line, they must be loving this down there. And then he does a little point, and then there's a wipe, and we go down low.
Now, Sims later goes to see Billings. Now, Paul Billings, he's the sheriff who's got the syndrome. Remember, if you remember season 1, you know Billings is on the good guy team, but he's a good guy who really wants to follow this pact. He's like, I want to do what's right, but sometimes I'm going to do what's in the pact as opposed to what I feel morally is right. And so because of the pact says it, he's still trying to do a report on Juliette saying, hey, I went out to clean. And so even though the silo's in pandemonium, there's curfews, there's all sorts of craziness, he's like, well, the pact says I have to fill out the report. I'm going to fill out the report.
To be honest, though, we did not get much more time with him than we got with Juliette's father, who I'm not even sure why we're connecting with at this point. So again, we need to see a little bit more of Billings.
Well, you said it, Catfish. Billings is, as we saw in season 1, if you don't remember season 1, Billings seems like a pretty smart guy. And I'll give Sims this, his story kind of sort of works. You know, it's like, hey, Juliette had a red level relic. She got caught with it. She said, to hell with this. I want to go outside. Like, it kind of sort of works. Okay,
you know what, Bubba? You know what? You did it beautifully, because you said his story sort of works. And the only thing you mentioned was the part of his story that works. You didn't mention the part of his story that doesn't work, which is, oh yes. And then after she decided, nah, joke, I'm running away from you.
Well, that I was showing how Sims should have done it. So, here, why don't we go ahead and talk real briefly about Sir Friend Zone of American Accents, Dr. Nichols. Yeah. He saw his daughter go over the wall, or over the hill, excuse me. She's alive. He's happy. But he's kind of said goodbye to his daughter way back when his wife died. And so in the end, he's still going to do his work. The Anderson baby has a dislocated elbow. Youch. Do babies have that? That's horrific.
Well, it's what happens when they throw the curveball too much. You have to wait till you're older to throw the curve.
Let me say that maybe we saw this scene not only to remind the audience, hey, Juliette does have a father, but there is a brief scene that he is being followed. You know, you saw the guy kind of following him stand up when he left, who Judicial is watching Dr. Nichols. And I don't know why, Juliette's outside, but maybe it's the idea of, is Dr. Nichols going to be as big a troublemaker as his daughter was? What do you think?
I don't know why they cast as well-known an actor to do this part, and maybe that's the only reason why they're emphasizing it. Just a quick spoiler without any details.
Sure.
Does he have any sort of pivotal role in the book?
This is something I was going to talk in the book section. Again, the show is changing a lot, listeners, so I guess it's okay to say as a spoiler. Once Juliette goes out to clean, Guess who really never shows up on the page again for the rest of this first book? Her father. And so you're right. This actor, Ian Glenn, everybody knows him from Game of Thrones, but he's been in a lot of stuff. He's a great actor. I guess
I mean,
you've
it felt
got
like
him,
they forced a lot of stuff last year that felt
yes,
unnecessary.
yes.
And now they're including him, and I don't even know why, unless it's to be informed that babies can indeed have horrific pitching injuries.
Well, let me say, even though he doesn't show up in the rest of the book, there is a story development where I see he could play a role. So that's all I'll say. It's again, I'm only talking the first book. And I'm not maybe that implies that he survives the first book, and maybe that's a spoiler. I don't know. I might cut this. Listeners, yell at us in the comments if I shouldn't have said any of this stuff. So sorry.
No, I mean, again, as you said, they have done different things with characters in the show and in the book. So I don't think it's a spoiler to say what happens with them in the book, because it could be different. I'm just feeling a lack in the show of his import to the show, and
that's the way it feels right now, without question. Yeah. Let's get back up to probably the power couple of the episode, Judge Meadows, who is pouring out her screwdriver down the sink. Wow, do you know how much that cost in the club, man? Oh, she's pouring it down. And who shows up?
You know how long it takes to mine one of those screwdrivers?
But who shows up? It's Bernard. And the judge is doing some ice cold disses, which we love. She's like, Bernard, I'd make you a drink, but I don't want you to stay that long. Whoa! How about this? The judge is, the judge. I mean, I know a lot has happened, but the judge is like, hey, everybody, I used to be an alcoholic. I'm, 2 years clean. I'm 1 year clean. She's like, Bernard, I'm 20 minutes sober. Like, thank you.
Now they got to mine a chip.
And now they talk, and there is a big, oh snap moment. Bernard is being, Bernard, who won't tell what we think is his right-hand man, Sims, any big secrets, right? He'll tell Sims little things, but not big things. With Judge Meadows, he'll tell her a lot. I mean, he comes out and says, hey, you know about the other silos? Juliette went and saw those thousands of dead bodies. The founders, he mentions the founders story. He's like, they know that if someone failed to clean, it was trouble. And we find out the judge used to be Bernard's shadow. What Sims is, both Sims and his wife, this is their goal. And we find out Bernard already had a shadow. And so, wow. And so the question becomes, well, obviously, maybe learning about the truth, did that cause her to drink? And that's why she's no longer a shadow. But then if she knows all this stuff and she's a raging alcoholic, how could Bernard trust her to keep her mouth shut? There's a lot of questions here, Catfish.
That's a good point. And also, how did she become the judge? It seems to me that this is very hierarchical, that you don't go up a chain and then jump to another chain.
Right. Well, she was apparently in IT and then left for judicial. This is very odd. It was 25 years ago, so I suppose there is time to grow within judicial if you quit being a shadow 25 years ago. Now, the judge, she tells Bernard, hey, I want to go see Wicked. No, I'm sorry.
She says she wants to be like the wizard in The Wizard of Oz. But Bubba, as longtime listener to the podcast, knows the only way you can know to be the wizard is if you can separate the wheat from the chaff.
These women are not chaff. Oh, my goodness. In fact, they argue about which one of them is the wizard. But Judge Meadows, in the end, she wants to be like the wizard because she wants to get out of the dang silo. We'll get to her, revelation a bit.
Yeah,
but let's do Bernard's speech.
I got a quick question just to show you
sure.
how dim I am. I didn't realize that was going to lead her to what she says at the end.
Yeah.
But it is obvious once you think about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's get to Bernard's speech, which Judge Meadows does show up for to lead a hand.
Yeah.
We know Bernard was really frustrated with Juliette, but here he's trying to, I guess for political sake, paint her in a positive light. Maybe it's an expedient light. He has one of his hecklers yell out, Juliette was a traitor. And he's like, no, she's not a traitor. I disagreed with her about a lot of stuff. But before she went out, I asked Sheriff Nichols if we could seal her suit in a new type of tape created by our technicians. She agreed. She proved the new tape provided better protection against the dangers outside. And that is the first step forward in our lifetime.
Now, all that's lacking is for somebody to yell out, "So where is she then?"
So, Bernard he's making this spin work. He's saying, listen, we're going to find a way to make our suits better, stronger. And one day we're going to produce a tape that may protect all of us. And lead us to the ultimate goal of leaving the silo. What do you think of Bernard's situation? Apparently there was nothing in that book called The Order for this specific problem. Do you think he handled it as well as it appears that he might have?
I mean, it is a great idea to say this was our stuff and we're trying to make it so we can all leave. Why would people want to leave? It's so awesome in the silo. I mean, why do people want to leave? I mean, they've seen what it looks like out there. It looks horrible.
It does. These toxins are not friendly. Judge Meadows is playing ball. She's like, hey, everybody, 5 credits to every household. This new tape will lead to a new day. Man, oh man. Mm-hmm. Sims is slowly learning, if he didn't learn enough last season. He might be Bernard's right-hand man, but he's always going to be kept at an arm's distance on that right hand. And we get to Sims family time, and Mrs. Sims tells a Catfish level bad joke. She's like, hey, our son's asleep. He asked where you were. I told him, I guess Daddy doesn't love us anymore. Honey, I'm only kidding. Did she really think that was going to go over well? I mean, you need to workshop your type 5 before
Mrs.
you take it out on
Sims,
stage.
Read the room. I mean, Sims, I got to be honest, Sims looks like he is never going to be receptive to that kind of joke. He appreciates humor like he appreciates bad tape.
So the Sims, we found out last year, Robert Sims and his wife, they have one goal, to become Bernard's shadow. They haven't said on the show why that's so important. Do you want to speculate, Catfish? Here's another double S silo speculation of why the Sims want to be Bernard's shadow so bad.
I mean, it could be sometime deep in the past that he is a secret agent, or his families were a secret agent. They had some knowledge. I wish I could just sit all these people down and tell them, like, I know that this life seems pretty shitty, but it's real bad out there.
It's somehow even worse outside.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I assume they've been building this up last season and this season. I assume we'll find more of a payoff, but they want it. That is like their goal. It's always nice for characters to have goals. That's theirs. And we get, I guess, the closing act of this buddy comedy of Bernard and Judge Meadows.
I don't know, buddy. There was a moment where I thought I was just wanted to yell out, just kiss and get it over with.
I mean, Judge Meadows, once again, all snaps in nice cold disses. Hey, Bernard, I went out there to watch you fail. To watch you fail all around. Dang. But theoretically, for the time being, it seems like an amazing snow job. This seems to work. Now, Bernard says it's only going to give them a few days before people realize, what's so special about this new tape? Bernard, who, once again, is treating Sims poorly, treated a lot of people poorly once, his kind of mask dropped in season 1. It is almost, sweet. He's saying, Judge Meadows, I need you. You complete me.
I mean, he got really close. And you know what? Yep. When someone's new to sobriety, you got to like give them some space. They can't get any new relationships. And Bernard feels like he's really pushing it.
Well, how does this make you feel if you're Bernard? Judge Meadows is like, okay, I'll work with you. I'll be around you a lot, but only if you can give me good tape. So at a certain point, I can get GTFO.
I want to get out. I want to get out. That's what she says. Damn.
Huh?
Dang.
Okay, that's it. Episode, talking through it with you, Catfish. I'm going to stick with my rating of 7. No, I'm kidding.
All right. Hey, that's fine.
All right. So, hey.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go down to judicial and have one of our judicial debates. And this is one that ties into the up top that we were just talking about and Bernard's big lie. So Bernard says he's got a couple days now. What can Bernard do? Bernard's goal is he doesn't want his silo to end up like that other silo that he saw. He wants his silo, these 10,000 people to live. What is Bernard's best move to keep peace in his silo, to return his silo to peace? What do you think it is?
I know this sounds harsh, but it feels like a lot of people want to go out.
Yeah, right now, for sure. And he's got to stop that, right? Or what do you think?
Okay, but I think the only way to stop it is to have a couple people go out and not make it over the hill
and fail again and say, "Oh, yeah, we thought it was the tape. It must not be the tape. We still got to work." Okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean, the only way you can get them to not do it is to somehow convince them it's not good out there, and the only way to do that is to throw a couple logs on the fire, Walker.
Well, she's going down to the closet mine. He's going to mine her. What about my pitch? Now, my pitch is in his speech, he made Juliette a hero. But what if he said, okay, here's what we're going to do. Anytime anybody mentions Juliette Common, just say these 3 words, but her emails. Topical? No, I'm kidding.
Perfect. You know what they should chant for Walker? Let her walk. Let her walk.
What's next?
All right, Bubba, we've got the double D's, double C's.
Wait, double D's, double C's?
Yeah, the deeply dumb catfish questions.
No,
Bubba,
goodness.
This week is all about shadowing because I had some questions after, Sim's shadowing was brought up. We got the judge was shadowing. Okay, and we all know this is training someone for your job, so there will be continuity. For some reason, people can't write shit down or do manuals. The only manual in the whole damn place is Bernard's Bible. So you've got to do that. Now, quick question, Bubba, and this is going to be a head scratcher.
Okay.
Do I remember this correctly? Did Sims kill his shadow last year?
Well, he offered Doug Trumbull, who was, who kind of messed up the framing of Patrick Kennedy for the mayor and Deputy Marnes's death. So Doug Trumbull was supposed to frame this guy, Patrick Kennedy, and he was going to be the sap who took the rap for those 2 murders. Trumbull was doing it because Sims said, you do this and you'll be my shadow. And then Sims, after Trumbull really failed miserably in what I consider a terrible storyline of season 1 that wasn't from the books, Sims killed Trumbull, who assumed he was going to be Sims's shadow. I don't think Trumbull ever officially was Sims's shadow.
Okay, so we've heard a lot of about shadowing in this series.
Yep.
But to me, it only seems like the only shadow we really knew was when Juliette was shadowing somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's true. She was shadowing Knox.
Right. So we don't know. Bernard doesn't seem to have a shadow. Sims doesn't seem to have a shadow. No. If this shadowing stuff is also important, how come none of the people we know have actual shadows right now?
Well, Juliette did. And then as soon as she got a shadow, she's like, I'm leaving mechanical and becoming sheriff. So, yeah, that's a wonderful question, Catfish. Listeners, do you have a great answer for Catfish's question? Let's hear it.
Okay, and then here's the truly stupidest question about shadowing. How do people manage to do their jobs when they are learning someone else's jobs while shadowing them and also doing their job and then teaching their shadows how to do their job?
It's a circular stairwell. It's a circle of life, Catfish. You're always
This is
shadowing.
Why there's no work-life balance in the silo. Bubba?
Let's go to the most important people, our listeners. Listeners, we get feedback on social media. We get feedback on YouTube. We read all of it. We love all of it. We pull a bunch out to read it in because you guys have great discussion points and great things to talk about. So thank you so much, and let's dive into it. First up from YouTube is Karina, and her feedback we love the best because it's just, hey, I enjoyed you guys talking very much. Thanks. Oh, thank you, Karina. That is wonderful feedback from me.
Wayne John says, thanks for the video, but the facial inserts of your 2 faces should have been much smaller. And Bubba, did you hire this guy to heckle us?
I did. Good work, Wayne John. The money's
Thank you, Wayne John. Croatoan Sound says, just found your channel right now. I'd actually just ordered the first book a few days ago. I'll be following the future videos, but skipping spoilers. Haha.
Robert answered a question that I believe you asked last week on the podcast Catfish, and he says, Juliette has hope and she isn't dead. So therefore, she's not worse off in Silo 17 than she was in Silo 18. Thank you, Robert. I think that makes plenty of sense. Now, Mother of Beagles wrote in and they said, who is that guy in the broken down empty silo who said stay out? Is it Steve Zahn? It is Steve Zahn. But then Mother of Beagles asks, is it the little kid from the beginning? This is an assumption. There's not an easy way to say this is from the book or not. But I'm pretty sure when Juliette walked into the silo amongst all the bodies, she saw two skeletons kind of cradling each other. And I would assume that was the mother and the kid who ran up at the beginning of episode 1. That's my thought. We shall find out, I assume, next week.
Ballin' Out of Control 08 says, I agree that the 10 minutes of unnecessary flashbacks were too much filler, especially since the episode was only 40 minutes. And Bogdan official page says too much filler in the episode. I agree.
They're agreeing with you, Catfish. You were pointing out that those flashbacks weren't fun for you, in your opinion. A great Double L loyal listener, Tim's Retro Corner, says he gave episode 1 8 triple Bs.
Triple Bs?
Bouncy busted bridges. Now, he subtracted 1 point from the episode because we didn't get episode 2 the same premiere week, and he wanted some action. He wanted some action. He wanted action, not just a stretched out dungeon crawl. And he subtracted another point because he wasn't a fan of the flashbacks. Man, oh my goodness, this is 3 people in a row. He said, I share Catfish's misgivings about the atmosphere in the silo.
Okay, hold on. Before you continue,
yeah.
Our good old friend Pat Man needs to listen to this next part.
Okay, well, we're going to read Pat Man's feedback next then. But
this is already rebutting Pat Man's feedback.
Right. So he says, listen, the mechanical area of a silo is about a mile underground. So it really needs to be treated like a mine. It's going to naturally fill with water, check. And it's got to be continually pumped out. Even IT on level 33 is over 500 meters down. Now, he said he's no mining expert, but it's got to be pretty noxious down there with all the ventilation shut off. Jules should be holding up a canary, not just a torch. Holy smokes, is that not wonderful? Thoughts, Catfish?
I appreciate someone bringing up some scientific measurements to buttress what I couldn't say. Now, Pat Man, our good old friend Pat Man, says, I don't disagree that the logistics of the depopulated silo make me scratch my head on how there are any lights. But Catfish's complaints about air seem a bit off.
Huh.
When everyone left, the silo was full of breathable air. One person still living in it might have a way to replenish what he uses, but the rest of the resident air isn't going to vanish. He doesn't have a way to replenish the entire volume of air in the structure.
That's at Patman on Blue Sky Social. Everybody follow Patman. We love him. Catfish.
I think it only seems to make sense that anything that is down underground is going to take some. It's going to take a lot of people maintaining it.
100%. Now, Jacob on YouTube says 1.5 years between season 1 and season 2 is too long. But like other shows with the intro, the recap, the end credits, this episode, which is really just 40 minutes long, gets stretched out to 62 minutes. And wow. Jacob says that's too short. He says a huge franchise like this should open up with a 2-hour season premiere and a 2-hour ending. So for him, the episode was good but lacking, and he only gave it 5 out of 10. Kev.
Damn, he brought it.
The show makes the hard things, like opening the door into the silo. He feels like the show made that easy,
I agree.
But it made the easy things, like jumping, swinging on a rope. You made that look hard. And he said this show treats viewers like we're D&D.
D&D?
Dumb and Dumber, or it treats viewers like DTTH.
Oh, yeah, DTT. Wait, DTTH?
Don't think too hard.
Uh-huh.
He said the flashbacks, he said they were okay. But he says outside of the 3 to 5 main characters in Silo, he doesn't find the rest of the characters that interesting. Hey, Jacob, write back and tell us if you thought this interesting, if this episode made the other characters interesting. And so 5 out of 10 for him. Now, Kale said the episode 1 was okay. The flashback was somewhat faithful to the book, but they changed what young Juliette's task was from junk picking carrying cables, which she did in the book. He says his concern is not this crazy bridge. It's just that if Juliette is on IT, where she is in this abandoned silo, that's level 34. And if the water is that high, this other silo is screwed, is what Kale says.
No Interleaving says, I would love to know what kind of toxic stuff can kill you within minutes, which must be in the air and can stay there for many years. I mean, any kind of nuclear poison. I think there are toxins that could stay in there in the air for a while. Once the air is sort of poisoned, that it might take a while to recover.
No interleaving. I wrote on YouTube that I would talk about this in the book spoiler section. Because it doesn't truly tie into this episode, I'm going to wait to talk about that. But we will talk about the toxins and the terribleness outside in a bit. 99 Raining Flame wrote, the only thing I didn't care for in episode 1 was the flashbacks. Oh my goodness, Catfish, you struck a nerve and everybody agrees with you.
Bubba, someone who does not agree with you is Locksmart or Ioxmart, said this is a masterpiece and is tired of your kvetching about how you want things to pick up, because they said, I hope they milk this series out for as long as possible. He said, read the books after watching season 1. There's a fellow book reader who's like, just keep doing this series till I'm dead.
Well, I want to say this is a bit like James Bond. It's always said that the first James Bond you see is one that you're naturally favorable towards and like. And so I think if you read the book and then watched the show, you'd have more some of the nagging thoughts that I do. But you watched the show, then read the books, so you probably get nagging thoughts when you're reading the book. But we love that feedback, and we love...
Except for Pierce Brosnan. I can't see how Pierce Brosnan could be anybody's Bond.
Oh boy, that's tough. Hey, a true double L, Catfish, a true double L loyal listener, Laura, said episode 1 was an intriguing start, and she and her husband are looking forward to the rest of the season. Oh, thank you, Laura.
Love it. And Irene says, I enjoyed the episode. Juliet's entry into Silo 17 was arduous and prolonged in the books. This actually seemed less lengthy.
Oh, my goodness. And then another loyal listener. These are all from Blue Sky, I should mention. Catfish, can you believe Satan Claus is with us again? Oh, he's a great listener.
Knowing that, he says, for my first Blue Sky post, thank you for joining us. I give Silo Season 2, Episode 1, 8 double B.
Double Bs?
Yeah, britch bruises. I think Bernard uses the good tape to retrieve the clean suits when everyone is sleeping.
Okay, read it.
Oh, I love it. I love that. I love that. Shh, where are you going? I gotta go out for a sec. And this holiday season, remember to react to gifts like Shirley. What? Why? I'm not a baby.
Very good. Another loyal listener on Blue Sky, Link Hogthrob, wrote, Catfish is back. I'm so glad you guys are also on Blue Sky. I'm just catching up with Silo. As usual, great work on the podcast. Thank you so much, Link Hogthrob.
Oh, man. And on Threads, Cam Shay says, I would say 8 out of 10 for the double S.
Double S?
Super slow pace. Ooh. I'm still excited for the season.
Hey, I want to say, I think, Catfish, there is a chance. Cam Shay 23 on Threads, let me know. I think this is a chance. This is Harley Camille on Threads. So thank you.
Oh, that would be great.
And of course, these are all loyal listeners. Our buddy at Nicholas Fortuna on Twitter. He gave episode 1, a.k.a. Juliette Croft, Silo Raider, 8 double J's.
Double J's?
Jumping Juliettes out of 10. He loved seeing a post-apocalyptic Silo. He said it was super creepy. The episode was slightly slow, but he felt in episode 1 he was invested throughout the runtime. Incredible feedback, listeners. Keep it coming. We need it.
I love it, Bubba. And on our next podcast, we're going to do the non-spoilery book talk and then the spoilery book talk. Yep. But for those of you who want no spoilers and want to go away right now, it's a reminder that the next podcast will still be of Silo Season 2, Episode 3, Solo?
That's the episode title.
All right. Bernard turns to Judge Meadows for help. Man, more.
Good luck.
Billings begins to wonder if he's being lied to.
Again.
Juliette finally meets the man in the vault.
Oh, wow. That's episode 3. If you're leaving and don't want to hear the book talk spoilers on the audio podcast, hey, you can always find us on all these social media apps. at double PHQ. That's the word double, the single letter P for podcast, HQ for headquarters, at double PHQ. That's where you can also find me at Fit and Trim. That's FITTENTRIM at Fit and Trim.
And you can hit me up at Instagram and Blue Sky at GEETOTHEMAN. And we'll talk to you next week on The Cleaning. Hi,